Alright, here we have a Losi 10 SCTE. It's a ready to run kit. And I have a new servo here to try out. It's a Spektrum 6040 titanium gear, 167 ounces of torque, I believe, and 0.08 second speed on it, so it'll 0.08 seconds to reach the further end of the range of the servo here. And I'm going to replace the stock servo in this ready to run kit here, and we'll just do a quick test before and after. You can see, oops, we're kind of on the table here. It's not terribly quick, so we're hoping to see a pretty good increase on that. I'm going to show a quick shot of the servo here as I'm taking it out. Basically, you got a Phillips head here that I've already undone, and then you got 4 hex bolts here that I'll be undoing. I'm going to go ahead and undo these real quick, but just to show you where it's at for those of you interested in replacing yours. Pretty easy deal, but quick update here. Got the top of the box off here to get to your control unit receiver, and just want to show unplugged the steering from the the servo from the receiver here, and got the bolts out, so I'm going to feed the wire through, but just want to show that real quick. Alright, we got the new servo in, wire routed down through the back here and coming out right here, and this little white thing, the little gear mesh here that'll line up with our little servo arm for the Losi 10 came off of the stock one, which is right here. It was right on here. I just pulled it off and pushed it on. That should be all we need to do. I'm just going to go ahead and fasten it down, and we should be ready to go to try it out. Another update here. I found the proper way to get to this panel is to take these 5 screws out on the bottom, which will release the receiver compartment. And these holes are the ones right here, 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 and here. 5 total. And they'll be used with the little silver hex key that came with your RTR kit that is right there. And they're all the smaller silver hex screws, so if you're wiser than I am, you take those out first. It'll make this a whole lot easier. And the reason we got to this is because below your receiver tray here there is a plastic piece, which is right here, that bolts on the bottom, that holds the 2 bolts in on your servo. So without those, it won't be properly bolted down. Alright, so I have this servo back in. Our bolts fastened back down here. And the next thing to do, battery hooked up, is let the servo center itself. I'm going to go ahead and cut the power on here. Let it center itself out. I'm just adjusting my trim here. I'm going to center it out on my side. My transmitter. And here. So now that the servo is centered, I'm going to try and adjust my wheels to be center. Take our servo arm, and of course I centered them while I'm doing that, but my idea here would be to get this as centered as possible before we fasten it down. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this bolt down, get all adjusted, but make sure you turn it on before you put your servo arm back on, otherwise your wheels will be all the way to one direction most likely as it centers itself. Alright, got our servo arm hooked back up to our wheels. Everything pretty well adjusted here, I believe. Let's give it a shot here. Let's see, much more responsive, quicker. I couldn't do that before, and the stock servo would pause in the middle, so it's definitely much better than it was. We'll make one note here. You'll see I do have a cap here hooked up, which is the Spektrum SCTE. I hooked this up a while back because I was having problems with my steering being responsive, and I thought that may be the case, a cause of it, and I read about it. So and I think when you replace the servo with the stock controller and ESC in this thing, apparently it is almost required to have one of those, from what I understood. So that may be a caveat here as well. If you're going to replace this, you may want to get one of those. The only thing I have on my car that's not stock is the MyLapse transponder here that's hooked up as well. Shouldn't have any effect on the servo though. Then I am running a Thunder Power 6000 milliamp 65C on this thing. It runs pretty well with that battery, so we'll see if that helps out at the track. I had problems with mine being responsive, losing control temporarily, and I think it may have been due to the weak servo.